the red sort of came into being towards the tail end of Jumper, and I'd been wanting to work with a new media, and felt that in the way that with my still pictures, I stopped using film and started going digital, that it was inevitable that we would go digital with our movies. And we actually did one kind of epic weekend for Jumper, where we started in New York, and it was kind of Born Identity style, guerrilla shooting on the streets of New York, handheld, very long lens with the red, and the kind of thing that would have been impossible with one of those systems that required a tether. But the red really kind of brought me back to my comfort zone of using the Aton, which was my preferred camera of choice on all of my movies that I shot on 35 millimeter, because it was so small and compact, and you could get that kind of documentary feel. So where the red camera really shone for me, I mean, where what really blew me away was we were doing this shoot out in Massachusetts with Hayden Christensen out in the middle of the ocean with the camera in an underwater housing under very grueling conditions, and not really the kind of conditions that you would say, hey, this is a great chance to take a piece of electronics. That's probably the environment where you want to use like some Arri or some kind of camera that's been around for 50 years that can like handle any kind of conditions you throw at it. It's not really the environment. You're like, it's salt water, ocean, but we took the red out there, put it in an underwater housing. And the thing about underwater housings is that they're so time-consuming to reload a film camera that if you can at all afford it, you end up having two complete systems, and you're reloading one while you're shooting the other. And it's so time-consuming, you almost have no choice but to have two systems, because it could take like an hour, 40 minutes to reload an underwater housing. And in the case of the red camera, when we used up the little memory card, which is like the size of a card that goes in a digital camera, basically, it's not, and someone just reached in and popped it out and popped another one in, and it was good for another 5 minutes of shooting, and that reload took maybe 10 seconds, and that was the moment where I said, like, how is film ever going to compete with this? There's always been an Aton on my set all the way through Jumper, and until the end of Jumper, and then at the end of Jumper, once I used the red once, there was always a red on my set instead of the Aton, because I just can't stress for my style of filmmaking how important being able to reload that quickly is, and that's a 5-minute card, and you just know the way technology works, it'll be a 10-minute card, then it'll be a 20-minute card. And also, we were able to shoot the red the way we shot film, where you just take an exposure meter reading, and you're not, the thing that I had not liked about some of the other technologies I looked at was the notion of lugging a technician along with you. And this really was the first thing that was like a compact 35 millimeter camera, but better. The other thing, when we came to color timing Jumper, the footage that we shot on the red blended in perfectly to 35 millimeter. I mean, there's not really a downside to it. It's from an ease of shooting. It's just like shooting film, and so it has all the advantages of film in terms of how you shoot it, and it has none of the disadvantages of film. I think that the red's going to have a profound impact on the film industry. It's going to certainly force all the other camera manufacturers to sort of step up and produce systems that are as easy to use and as filmic, in terms of how you use it, as the red camera is, because that really is probably, of all the things, my favorite thing about the red is that you shoot it like film. It has enough of a latitude that you don't need a technician there to be figuring out, like, you expose for the shadows or the highlights. You just expose the way you would expose film. You'll see the envelope get pushed, and you'll see things on the screen you didn't think were possible.